Hey everyone, this is Aragoda. So I'm trying out a new series where I'll just be going through itch.io and playing interesting things that I find. Um, but I thought, I played this blind. It's a short thing, it took about 8 minutes. Um, it's a beautiful visual novel. And in a bit, I'll follow along and read aloud as I went through it. But if you are someone who might enjoy a story about grief that is bittersweet and built on feelings of nature and wistfulness, sort of these late summer vibes, then I think you should maybe not watch what I'm about to post here and instead go to the link I'm going to have in the description. And if you like it, I advise you to give some money through the support the story button to the creator, BigNastyTruck. So that being said, I'm going to uh, introduce the story in a bit, and if you want to read along with me, then you're welcome to do so. Hi everyone, this is Iragoda, and I am on itch.io looking at various little visual novels and games. I'm going to go through this one, blind. It's called I Will Not Survive You by BigNastyTruck. So I guess we'll just jump right in. When the drought finally broke, we were so relieved. The traffic came to a standstill and we ran into the street, dust turning to mud beneath our feet. I'm not too proud to admit that I cried. I called my mom. You called your brothers. The rain continued for weeks, so long we were starting to think we would never see clear sky again. You said it was like the water missed us as much as we missed it. The river flooded, just like it used to. The spillway in the lake found use for the first time in decades. The flooding must have carried seeds from elsewhere into our garden, because not long after, the mulberry trees started to grow. You said they were bad luck, but you said it with that smile that meant you kind of liked the idea of them being bad luck. I said that I thought they were romantic, just to be contrary. They grew faster than anything else in our garden ever had. Within 5 years, they were much taller than us, scratching at the second-story windows. Another 10, and they were the tallest trees in the neighborhood. When the birds returned, they loved those trees. They held up well, even when the river broke its borders again and flooded our garden for a second and then third time. The birds nested in them not long after and returned every year after that. I'd sometimes see crows fighting with squirrels for the berries that had dropped to the ground overnight. I never liked to eat them plain myself, but you did. You'd come in from foraging and I'd always know if you had cut through the backyard on your way home, because your lips and fingertips would be stained red. When my aunt died, I baked a mulberry pie to bring to the wake. Nobody touched it. On the walk back afterwards, you said it was probably for the best. It was still too early in the year for them, and the filling had been a bit sour when I'd offered you a taste in our kitchen earlier in the day. I asked why you hadn't told me sooner, and you said you liked it anyway, so you thought maybe someone else would as well. I ate it in our bed when we got home, and I cried. You were right, it was sour. You sat with me until I tired myself out, and when I finally fell asleep, the spoon slipped from my hand. It left red stains all over your favorite set of bedsheets, just like the ones that had been around your mouth that morning, and you weren't even upset. I borrowed some old power tools from a friend down the road the next summer and built a pair of scrappy little chairs for us to sit in out in the yard on sunny days. I used to be good at this, I said, and you smiled and replied, You still are. I disagreed and thought you just liked to watch me work, but the chairs were good enough. And we made do with them. The school stopped running here a while back. Probably stopped running pretty much everywhere. But our neighbor started giving nature education classes to the kids in the area some mornings. She used to be a camp counselor, I think, a long time ago. She asked if she could show them our garden, and I said it was more orchard than garden now, but she just laughed and said that was quite all right. One of the older kids tried to climb the tree closest to the house, and he fell and skinned his knee. You tended to him carefully and quietly, just like you tended to most things. He was patched up and, in no time, and ran off again without even a thank you. You didn't seem to mind. Whenever a breeze or an animal disturbed the branches and the berries fell down onto my head, they seemed to get thoroughly tangled in my hair within seconds. You laughed at me every time, and I'd complain about it louder than I needed to keep you laughing, and then, when I went to pull them out of my hair, you would stop my hands. You said I did it too roughly and to let you do it instead, and then you would gently remove them one by one. I would sometimes say that you were taking too long on the days when it felt like too much kindness to take, but you were always good at knowing when I was lying about things like that, so you wouldn't say anything back. Last month, we buried you, out back with the mulberry trees. You told me you wanted to carve your headstone out of wood, even knowing I was far out of practice. It took me a while, but I finally got it right this morning. Beloved partner, it says, with your name and the dates of your birth and death. Below that, in small script, a bit morbid for my taste, but you said it felt right, are the words you said when we first identified the new plants growing in our garden, the symbolism of mulberries, something you remembered from a book you loved as a child. I said once, bitterly on a bad day near the end, that maybe you were right. Maybe the trees were bad luck. You smiled that smile again, the one that said you kind of liked the idea, and you held my hand. You said, if a long life spent here with you was the result of bad luck, then I'm happy to have had it. I stood there for a while this morning, after I finished hammering the headstone into the ground with the mallet I never remembered to return, that summer after I built our chairs, and I stared at my handiwork. A breeze passed through, and a few stray berries fell down into my hair, getting caught right away. I smiled and turned back towards the house, setting to work on untangling them, slowly, just like you would. Behind me, chiseled words in soft, unfinished wood catching sunlight through the branches of a small grove of trees read, I will not survive you. Wow. Well, I don't know if the creator will see this, but thank you for making it.